Welcome back, football fans. Welcome to Play Action Takes, Apollo Media's NFL podcast, brought to you by Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary Mix, and Big City Wings. Houston's Wing Joint, Apollo's Wing Joint. I'm your host, Stone Strinkman, joined always by Kush Patel. How are we doing, bud?
Pretty good, man. Let's get into these NFC South teams.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do the NFC South preview today. Today's our recorded episode. It will go live on Friday. We're recording Thursday, August 14th. In the afternoon. So if any major injuries happen, we don't know about them yet. But we're going to preview the NFC South. We're going to go through last year's standings. Going to go through each team, standings projection, defensive and offensive division MVPs. Not necessarily the MVP of the league, but who's going to be the best player on each side of the ball from the NFC South. We're previewing every division on Play Action Takes before the season kicks off September 4th. Before we get into this, though, Kush, we got to talk about something else. Apollo Media, Fantasy Football League, it's happening. Your favorite podcast from Apollo Media, not ours this season. Next season, we'll integrate PAT into it. But this season, we got 7 Apollo podcasts plus Pretzelized. Shout out to Pretzelized, our lovely sponsor for the Apollo Fantasy Football Draft. Pretzelized is a cracker that is also a pretzel. It's wonderful. They got pita chip pretzels as well. I mean, they've got all the good flavors. Pretzelized is going to be an incredible sponsor for the draft. You're going to have all kinds of Pretzelized activities going on throughout the draft. We got ways for you, the viewer, to participate. We're going to have a live draft August 28th in the evening time from our YouTube at Apollo HOU. So you can go in there, you can get in the chat, you can participate with everybody. You can choose your favorite podcast and root for them for the draft and the duration of the season. And you can even participate by sending super chats in. You might be able to steal a draft pick a player for your team, your favorite team, and even create punishments throughout the draft. So you just got to participate through super chats during the draft, but we'll be giving away a bunch of Pretzelized on the streams, maybe some Apollo care packages as well. So make sure to tune in. August 28th, our Pretzelized Apollo Fantasy League is launching. We're having the live draft on August 28th.
Put it on your calendar, August 28th, man. It's gonna get crazy around here.
It's going to be weird. We got a lot of challenges going on throughout the draft. It's not just going to be the draft itself, but we're going to have a big board. We're going to have a bunch of fun stuff going on. We've got referees. We've got all the podcasts. We've got 7 different Apollo podcast teams, plus the Pretzelized team. We're going to have an 8-team league this year. Next year, it's going to expand. But for this season, it's 8 teams. Pretzelized. Shout out to Pretzelized. They're going to be an awesome sponsor for it. But can't wait to get into that. But we're back. NFC South preview. We're recording this episode instead of going live today. Again, another division I just don't like, but I don't know if I've ever liked this division. That is the issue. This has always been the same division since I was a child, a young buck, if you will.
I feel like these divisions are the most fun to predict because it's like we just don't know what's gonna happen. You know.
Yeah, I believe last year on Play Action Takes that I selected the Falcons to win the division, and that was a mistake. And then, like 1 week into the season, I was like, "Yeah, that was stupid. I'm going with the Bucks." So I quickly righted my wrongs there. But we'll get into last year's standings. We'll start from the top. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 10-7. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, the normal roster. This isn't a crazy division, 10-7. Obviously, the Texans won the division at 10-7. They had a down year. I think the Bucs, this is kind of what they are. They're going to be 10-7, 11-6, 9-8. They're going to be in that range with this roster. Liam Cohen does move on from Tampa, goes to Jacksonville, so they lose their offensive coordinator. But overall, this team looks about the same. Baker Mayfield comes back. They added a new wide receiver, Egbuka. He was very highly touted in the draft. Everyone really liked him heading into it. It was a deep wide receiver draft. But the real question is will they lead this division again?
Yeah, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like you said, they did lose Liam Cohen, goes to the Jaguars to be the head coach of that team. Every time a team loses their OC, we really don't know what to expect. Like, are they going to stay at the top? Are they going to get better, or are they going to dip? I feel like the Bucks offense has enough pieces to where like they got Baker Mayfield running the show. They got Mike Evans, one of the best receivers I've seen in my lifetime. And they got the everyone's draft favorite here in Houston, CJ Stroud's running mate in college. They got Emeka Egbuka, who during the draft, people loved his ability to work out of the slot. Like you can move him around, and I think that's really going to help Baker Mayfield. As a secondary or tertiary target. And yeah, I mean I expect this Bucks team to win the division again. Like considering whoever else is in their division, like I don't see anybody really challenging them for that first spot.
No, it's tough because I mean they basically brought the same team back and added their draft picks to it. Like they stayed the same, if not got better. Bucky Irving's still on the team. Like they've got a lot of good pieces. Their offensive line's good. They have the best defense in the division, bar none. And it's not an incredible defense, but it's good enough. Got some pieces there. They got a good defensive line, good linebacker core, I think, and a few secondary pieces. Like they're going to be just fine in this division where you play 6 games out of your 17 game season here. So um, I see them doing the same thing this year, around 10-7. I don't see a huge drop off from Baker coming. I think being in that offense with Liam Cohen helped him last year. I think Cohen, like I said on last episode, strategized the offense to where it minimized Baker Mayfield's bad tendencies and enhanced the good ones. Just minimize danger across the field, not throwing over the middle, not having to do anticipation throws, and not having to lead someone open or throw into tight windows, that kind of stuff. So I think maybe just a full season of working with Cohen on that, like Baker kind of learned from it. Baker's a very good quarterback. I think they're just fine. I think they're going to be just fine in this division.
Yeah, and I think the main thing for them is like Baker's comfortable in the offense now. You know, even though Liam Cohen's gone, like he's been in the offense for a few years, so like coming into the preseason and all that stuff, he's comfortable. You don't really need to see a whole lot from him. It's just they're gonna get to the regular season, and I think they're just gonna win that division again.
Yeah, I think they're pretty much set in stone there. I know last year I was really high on the Falcons. I thought Kirk Cousins was going to come back from his Achilles injury just being fine, and he wasn't. Turns out when you're older and you tear your Achilles, it's not going to go very well. But yeah, I think the Bucks are going to be right in that same position, around 10 wins, winning the division again. But next team, Falcons finished 8-9 last season. They had the Kirk Cousins games where he threw a pick like in every close game in the fourth quarter, every single time. Michael Penix got a little bit of run. Offense is changing a little bit. They added to the defense in the drafts. I still don't like the roster all the way around, but if Michael Penix Jr. does what he did in college at Washington, then we're looking at a completely different team. He has to be very good on this team in order for this team to win. Bijan Robinson has to, or Bijan Robinson has to make a jump and be what he kind of was his rookie year and maybe score a few more touchdowns than he has. And then the defense has to do something. And they tried to fix that by getting 2 edge rushers in the first round that no one was really high on, is kind of my issue there. They took the kid from Georgia who's a little bit undersized, but was really good there. But Georgia's one of the best defensive lines that I've ever seen in college football in my lifetime of watching it. And then they took James Pierce Jr., I believe, from Tennessee, who another kind of undersized edge rusher. So if you have speed and stuff on the edges and it works, then absolutely this team got better. But if not, I think they're kind of in the same ballpark. It's going to be first season for Michael Penix Jr. at the helm for the entire season. So you could see a lot of growth there. You could see a lot of good games. But I think for the most part, this roster is what it is. It's an 8-9, 9-8 type of roster.
I actually really like the Falcons. Not, I mean, obviously not as much to pick them to win the division, but I think they had a lot of hype last year with the Kirk Cousins, and the way they started off, like they started off in a lot of like big time primetime games, and then obviously Kirk Cousins gonna Kirk Cousin. In the
Yeah.
fourth quarter, he throws picks, can't get it done in the fourth quarter. Um, I recall when he was with Minnesota, they called him the opposite of the big game quarterback because every time he was on prime time, he just wouldn't play well.
Well, and then he
And
had that one season on Netflix's quarterback show where he was incredible. They won a lot of games. He was really
yeah,
good, and they were winning big time games. They were winning prime time games, and he kind of did away
maybe
with
they need
that.
to put him on Netflix again. Maybe
Yeah,
that's what needs to happen.
I haven't watched
But
that yet. I need to.
but no, I think the Michael Penix Jr. experiment. He is a little bit of an older quarterback coming out, but I really like his talent. Um, I think he has the perfect amount of weapons around him. Talk about Bijan Robinson. You talk about Drake London at receiver, and then one of my personal favorites. as far as fantasy season goes, I think everybody knows where I'm gonna go with this. Kyle Pitts, man. Every year I pick this man. He just doesn't play well, gets hurt, whatever the case may be. But you know what? 2025 is a year. I'm gonna pick Kyle Pitts, and he's gonna go off this year with Michael Penix Jr.
I think I wanted him his rookie season. I didn't get him, and then ever since then, I've stayed away. And for this Pretzelized Apollo Fantasy Football League, I'm teaming up with Josh Garcia. Our Zero Gravity NBA team is having a team on this Pretzelized Fantasy Football League, and he immediately said, "Oh, Kyle Pitts," and I'm like, "No, no, no. This is going to be a team decision now, boys. Like we're not doing that. I'm a full stay away from Kyle Pitts. He has to prove me wrong before I even think about picking him up in fantasy. He's got
That's
all
fair.
the he's got everything. It just looks like a tight end. He looks like he'd be able to receive for 1,000+ yards and multiple touchdowns a season, and he just doesn't do it for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the quarterback situation, the offensive line, if it's him. I couldn't tell you. I'm staying away from Kyle Pitts in fantasy.
Yeah, and then on defense, you talked about James Pierce Jr. earlier, who they drafted. That was a guy that he had a lot of character concerns coming out, and he kind of dropped. And maybe they can maybe they can get something out of him, and he can produce at a high level for their defense. That'll really help them. But you know, um, they did have Justin Simmons. Do they still have Justin Simmons on the roster? I can't remember.
I think he might still be a free agent, but I could be wrong. It looks like he's still a free agent.
Yeah, so Justin Simmons was a guy that they kind of were in their all in phase last year, but that didn't work out. So it's just a lot of things just didn't work out for him last year. Maybe they can turn that around this year. Um, but if they're going to challenge the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, obviously Michael Penix Jr. is going to have a big year. So I think in the NFL, obviously the quarterback is the X factor always. So I'm just really looking forward to Michael Penix Jr. for the Falcons, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he does with a full season and not having to worry about Kirk Cousins being the starting quarterback. I don't know what they do with that situation. They gave him a boatload of money and he played a handful of games and then just wasn't as good as he was in the previous season before he got hurt. It's tough when you give someone that much money and it doesn't work out. I mean, seeing the older quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins in the last couple of years, and it just hasn't worked out the way they thought it would. And sucks for those teams because he spent a lot of money on that and
Yeah.
draft capital and all that kind of stuff. But it is what it is. Falcons 8-9 last year. The next team, interesting team, intriguing team, the Carolina Panthers, 5-12 last season. Uh, third year for Bryce Young, number one overall pick. Really bad rookie year. Last year, the last half of the season, I thought he was like pretty good, like not bad, especially on a team that's not very good. They added Teteroya McMillan from Arizona. They took him a little high, I think, but they needed weapons, and I'm okay with them taking them that high in the top 10. And then they got Xavier Legette, who's everybody's social media fan favorite, the most South Carolinian kid I've ever heard on the internet. It's incredible how South Carolinian he is. They got a good duo there with the wide receivers. Defense is still a little shaky, little gross. Derek Brown, he's going to be really good, but other than that, I don't know where the production is going to come from. I don't know where the stops are going to come from, but this team did improve just from the draft itself. And then if another year, Bryce Young, I think they win a handful more games here, and it won't be 5-12. They can win a few more division games and sneak back up in there.
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers are a team that, if everything goes right for them this year, Bryce Young takes that next step. If Ted McMillan, shows that he was a right pick at receiver, he can kind of prove that, like, hey, I'm the best receiver in this draft. And another guy that they just paid, J.C. Horn, I think he's going to have a big year on defense. You know, he got paid last year, just like Stingley, just like PS2, and J.C. Horn is trying to prove that he's in that same upper echelon of corners in the league.
Yeah,
And yeah, so if Bryce Young takes that next step, which I think he's going to, um, you know, I guess today in practice in Houston, actually, the word on the street was he looked pretty good against a really really good Texans defense, and he was making some great throws out there. C.J. Stroud gave him some high praise. So, I'm excited to see what Bryce Young looks like because, year one, I think everybody after year one was just completely out on him. And for me, like with quarterbacks, I feel like you have to wait until year three because after year three is really when you find out what type of player they're going to be. And I think Bryce Young is making a lot of progress. And I'm just excited to see the T Mac and Bryce Young, and obviously the our favorite South Carolinian Xavier Leggett. That trio on offense.
Him eating raccoon's so funny. But yeah, with the Panthers rookie year, Bryce Young, I mean, he got kind of shafted in a way. Like the coach got fired, and everybody else wanted CJ in the building, and the owner wanted Bryce Young. So it was a disjointed organization with the pick itself. So when that happens, obviously things don't go well. As a Dolphins fan, I understand that because Brian Flores did not want Tua. The rest of the organization did. There was a lot of friction there. Obviously, head coach gets fired, and then you kind of move on, and all of a sudden you got a year of turmoil. He doesn't look very good. He looks undersized. He's not being able to run away from defenders like he was in college. Then last year, he started to do those things again, and maybe not at a high level, but at a better level, and improved a lot. And I think if he has a really good year this year, then that draft doesn't look bad in comparison. I know they gave up a lot and all that to get up to the number one pick. It's a large haul for Chicago to give that one up, and they finished that trade out completely now, I believe, after the second round of this season. But if Bryce Young is good this year and CJ Stroud does what he did last year, then we have a conversation again about the draft, and it doesn't look as bad and all this kind of stuff. Or even if they both perform, then it's like, okay, you didn't make a bad decision with Bryce Young. Maybe you missed a year because CJ Stroud came out his rookie year. He was really good. They went to the playoffs. Like they won all these games and the Panthers didn't, but the roster construction was different. The head coach situation was different. Like all of these things were going against Bryce Young. So now that he's got a little bit of stability, now he's got weapons, he can kind of move along in his career and keep progressing. And if he keeps doing that, I think he's going to be just a fine quarterback.
Yeah, and another thing is year two of Dave Canales. So they're kind of building like a foundation there with the head coach. And I kind of compare like the Bryce Young situation with the head coach to Alex Smith, right? Like Alex Smith with the 49ers went through so many head coaches till he got to Andy Reid in Kansas City, and that just kind of changed his entire career around.
Yeah, it can happen. And this, a lot of, I think, issues with the NFL and what you think your quarterback should be able to give you in its rookie season is very high expectations for a person that's never played this game at this level before. And some guys come in and they absolutely kill it. Like Cam Newton, his rookie year was insane. Like there's just players that are able to do that and come in their rookie year and just perform at a very high level and win a lot of games. And I think a lot of that's dependent on who's the head coach, what the roster construction looks like, and just the ability of the quarterback himself. So Bryce Young got handed the short stick basically his rookie season, and now he's got a little bit of stability and he's got some weapons. I think it's going to be a fun year for the Panthers. I don't expect them to make the playoffs. I don't expect them to win the division, but I do expect them to be better than 5-12. Last team in the NFC South, Saints. New Orleans Saints, 5-12 last year. Kellen Moore, new head coach. You don't have Derek Carr anymore. Alvin Kamara's older. Defense is old. There's like no weapons around. Chris Olave didn't pan out the way you wanted him to, and you keep giving him concussion balls. Like there's a lot of problems with the Saints,
Yeah.
and they're not going to be fixed this year. And obviously, they all want to tank for Arch and have the Archie Manning jerseys going around, and it'd be a great time. It's not happening. He's not coming out this year. You're not going to have that opportunity. But hey, if you do get the number one overall pick, maybe take the best position player outside of quarterback, make your roster a little bit better. And then if you're still sucky the next year, you can get Arch. But it's not happening this year. They're not going to be 5-12, but they're going to win some games that they absolutely shouldn't. So I don't expect them to have the number one pick because it's the Saints and they win games that they shouldn't. And they're going to win. They're just going to win a handful of too many games, and they're not going to end up like with the top 3 pick. And it's going to suck for Saints fans.
Yeah, the Saints are certified dumpster fire right now. Like, I, before the show, I looked at their quarterback because I didn't know who the hell their quarterbacks were, and so we got a rookie in Tyler Shuff. I don't know if I'm saying his name right.
Shuck.
Shuck,
Like
okay,
fuck.
Tyler Shuck.
Yeah.
I got it. I got you. And we got Spencer Rattler, and then we've got another guy. I don't remember his name. Jake Hayner is the guy. Jake Hayner.
Sure.
So
That's
these
a
are your
problem.
three quarterbacks that Kellen Moore's got to find out who your starter is for the year. Um, I believe he's gonna give Spencer Rattler the start on Saturday night's preseason game. So
Okay. Yeah.
we'll see how that quarterback battle goes. But yeah, this team's a dumpster fire. What you said about the concussion balls to Chris Olave, that's really a shame. I really liked him coming out of Ohio State, but I think he's gotta find a way to get the hell out of there. Uh,
It's tough, man.
yeah,
They've got names on the roster too.
yeah.
It's like, I mean, Taysom Hill is older but still a weapon right now. Alvin Kamara, older, still a weapon right now. Chris Olave, if he can stay healthy, that's a weapon. Brandon Cooks still is running routes. Rashid Shaheed, he was incredible last year for the first like 4 games when they were putting up 50 points a game. It was insane. Chase Young, number 1 overall pick, is on your roster. Cameron Jordan, in his older age, he's still there. Justin Reed.
Demario Davis.
Yeah, Cam Akers is there for backup running back, like Juwan Johnson. It's just like there's names on here, and I have no faith in any of these guys. Like Devon Godchow, Dolphins legends on here. Kool-Aid McKinstry, I forgot they drafted him. Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
the
got
ro- the
names.
roster isn't bad.
It's just like the culmination of the roster itself. It just doesn't look like it has a lot of complementary pieces. Like their weapons look on paper to be good enough to win a lot of games, but their offensive line keeps getting hurt and it's older and it just doesn't protect the way it needs to. And then your quarterback situation last year, Derek Carr kept getting hurt. He was at the end of his career. He retired, obviously. And now you're left with Shuck or Spencer Rattler, who I thought was going to be the real deal after watching QB1 on Netflix years ago. Like I thought he was going to be incredible. And he hasn't panned out in either the college form or NFL form yet, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with him and maybe surprises a bunch of people when all that 5-star talent shows up in the NFL.
Yeah, and it's so funny to think about because I remember last year after week 2, I think week 1 they hang like 40 or 50 on the Panthers.
And then they do
And
it to the Cowboys,
they
right?
do it to the Cowboys in Dallas. And at this point in the season, Dallas had just beat the Browns, and everybody's high on Dallas. At the beginning of the season, the
Turns out
Saints
the
go in
Browns
there
were
and beat them.
terrible.
Yeah, the Saints go in there and beat them, and everybody after week 2 is like, "Do we need to worry about this team for the NFC crown?" And then the season went on, and things happened how they happened. Now we're talking about them not even having a chance in the divisions. It's just crazy.
Yeah, their roster's weird because there's players on it and it just doesn't seem complimentary at all. Like it just seems like one thing is going to go really well for the team on both sides of the ball, and that's not going to be enough to win a lot of games.
It kind of reminds me of like you're playing Madden and you're doing the fantasy draft, and you're just like picking like names that you know. That's what their roster kind of reminds me of.
And then you show up on the roster in the depth chart and you're like, oh, Cam Jordan's like 40 years old.
Yeah,
That might be an issue. That could be a problem. I took him in the 5th round. That's not good. Yeah, it's with the Saints. I mean, they're not Aints level yet. We're not going back to the Archie Manning level days, but I don't think they're going to be very good. I think Saints fans are going to be really pissed off, and they got a very passionate fan base. I think they're going to be upset again this year. And in our NFL group chat, we got Cam and some other guys that are Saints fans, and they always complain about the Saints. And I just look at them. I was like, you have a Super Bowl in your lifetime where you were able to remember the Super Bowl winning it. Like I've never seen my team with my current memory that when I started remembering things in my entire life, I've never seen my Miami Dolphins win a playoff game. So when it comes to comparing things, you can't win. You won't. I don't care. It won't win that way. But they can be upset. 5-year grace period is always my thing for championships, and they're well past the 5 years, but they competed for a while and now they're in their dip. We'll see if that dip turns into something good.
Yeah, Drew Brees had them competing for a long, long time, and now they're in the gutter kind of. So
Yeah,
see how it goes.
we'll see what happens with the standing projections, though. Kush, we'll go bottom to top. Who you got at the bottom? It's the Saints.
Bottom is the Saints. Yeah.
Yep, agreed. Third position. Who's going to get third in the division in NFC South?
Third, I'm gonna go the Falcons.
Who? Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stick with the Panthers, but I do think they get to like 7 or 8 wins. I just think the Falcons are a little bit better. So you have Panthers at 2?
Yep.
Panthers at 2. I don't hate it in any way, shape, or form. I just think the Falcons roster as a whole is a little bit better than the Panthers. And I'm high on Michael Penix. If he does what Bryce Young does, they win 1 or 2 more games than the Panthers in my head.
I just think Bryce Young's going to take that next step like twofold this year. I think he's, second year under Dave Canales. I think they've kind of started to figure it out, and he's kind of going to show his potential how he played at Alabama, I think.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all. I think he's just got enough weapons to work with throughout the duration of the season. Like last year, didn't have a lot to work with, and he was able to scramble and make some plays happen and stuff. But I think now he's got options. He can be able to go through all the reads.
I will say, between the Falcons and the Panthers, I don't think it's going to be that much of a gap. I think it's just by a hair.
Yeah, it's a game or two. I think
are pretty good.
Yeah, I think they're right around the 7 to 9 win mark. I think both of them are in that ballpark. So I've got Falcons at 2. I just think their roster's just a little bit better than the Panthers right now, and I believe in that more so than I believe in the Panthers defense. Essentially, I think the Falcons defense is better, albeit marginally. I just think it's slightly better, but I don't hate the Panthers at 2, and then we both have the Bucs at 1.
Yeah, obviously the Bucs at 1.
Yeah, I think they're going to be just fine. Mike Evans going to have 1,000 yards again for the 20th straight year, and it's just going to keep happening until Mike Evans decides to retire. But that's our standings projection. So Bucs, you had Panthers at 2, I had Falcons. We flip flop there for 2-3, and then Saints in the forward position. So this division is always in contention to go 8-9 and win the division and host a playoff game at 8-9.
Yeah, I mean, even with the Bucs at the top, I feel like if the Bucs struggle a little bit, then I mean, who the hell knows who's gonna be 1, 2, or 3? They might flip flop,
Yeah, I could see it happening. It'll be interesting to see in the NFC South. With that being said, our last segment, defensive and offensive MVP. We'll start with the offensive MVP for this division, the NFC South. Who do you got, Kush?
I got Mike Evans. Consistent, great receiver. I just expect him to put up crazy numbers again this year.
I'm going same team, different position. I'm going Bucky Irving. I think he does it again. I think he just kind of does everything well. I think he runs really well. I think he can catch the ball pretty well. And in this offense, they're going to be keying in on Mike Evans and Egbuka and everybody else that they have on the roster, Godwin, all these guys, they're going to be getting after him. I think Bucky Irving has a lot of holes that he can just plug into that offense and kind of produce the way that he did last year. And Mike Evans, I mean, it took him till week 18 to get his 1,000 yards last year, but I don't doubt that he'll put up 10 touchdowns and 1,000 yards. And this take looks stupid because he did that again. Defensive MVP for the NFC South. I'm going to go with Jesse Bates from the Falcons. He's obviously a very good safety. I think he gets enough picks. I think he makes enough plays. This division doesn't have a lot of defensive standouts. I thought about Derek Brown from the Panthers, but they just don't have a lot on the defensive line with them. So production kind of goes down if your other defensive linemen aren't either up to par or around your skill level. And the Bucs is just Vita Vea, Vontae David, Antoine Winfield Jr. None of these names really jump out to me, and Jesse Bates was the name I landed on.
Yeah, I like the Jesse Bates pick, but for my defensive MVP, to kind of support my Carolina Panthers hype train, I'm gonna go J.C. Horn. I think for the Panthers to do what I said they're gonna do, their defense has to be improved. Derek Brown in the middle is just a load and a beast. But on the back end, I think J.C. Horn is going to earn that contract that they paid him. And he's gonna show that he's one of the best corners in the league.
I like it. I like the pick. NFC South, not a super exciting division to talk about in whole. There's not superstars on this division. There's not a lot of barn burner teams. It's the NFC South. It's the way it's always been. There's always been one team that's going to win the division, and the rest of them are couldn't tell you who's going to win or lose.
They're trying to catch up.
Yeah, it's been this way my entire life. It may never change. I don't know. It may just stay the same forever. Maybe this is just the NFC South and the AFC South. It's going to be there's one team in charge of the division heading into the season, and everybody else kind of falls in line after that.
Yeah.
But that's the NFC South preview. Shout out to our sponsor, Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. They've got ready-to-drink cans, Michelob mix, margarita mix. They've got them all. Get those ready-to-drink cans. Put them in the fridge. Put them in the cooler. Throw a koozie on it. It's still hot outside. It's August, heading into football season. Get your Blazing Bloody Mary mix ready for Sundays. I know games start at 12. You could pregame with a little bit of Blazing Bloody Mary mix from Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. Zang responsibly. And shout out to Big City Wings, Houston's Wing Joint, Apollo's Wing Joint. It's Thursday, so Burger Day was yesterday with the discount. They got discounts like all week. Big City Wings. I went there on Tuesday. I was actually down in Houston. I was able to get a little Big City Wings. Got the burger on the sourdough bun. Incredible. It's the best. So shout out to Big City Wings. 14 locations across the Houston area. They're the best in the game. Houston's Wing Joint, Apollo's Wing Joint. Kush, any last words?
On the Big City Wings train, they do have a rewards program now. So I've
They
been
do.
I've
I
been
saw that.
going, I've been going consistently, got them rewards. The other day I got some wings for like $8.
Yeah.
So
Download
go
the
hit
Big
them
City
up
Wings
and
rewards app, right?
get some
Yeah,
nice
I
deals.
saw it the
Yeah.
other day. So shout out to Big City Wings, our longtime sponsor for Apollo Media. We love you guys. And we'll be back on Monday, live show, 2 p.m. on Monday to preview my division, the AFC East. You won't want to miss that one. There will be a lot of passionate words said about Miami Dolphins and the rest of the teams in the division. I can't help it. I get too passionate about it. And I'm not going to be like Kush was on this podcast talking about his team, the Texans, earlier this week. But Monday live show, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, God's time zone. We will be back to preview the AFC East division.
I can't wait to hear the Stoney rant on Monday.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But shout out to Pretzelize, Apollo Media's Fantasy Football League. We're having the live draft on August 28th, presented by Pretzelize. It's going to be a live draft. You, the viewer, can participate. So make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure to subscribe to Play Action Takes on wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever. We're up on everything. So Apple, Spotify, Play Action Takes. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to Apollo HOU on YouTube. And we'll be back very, very soon with another episode of Play Action Takes.